Hello everyone, and this video is just designed to be a reference video as you are working through Tinkercad and how to do 3D printing off of it. And so if there's a part that you don't necessarily remember, because there's certainly a lot of steps to it, you can use this video to go back and hopefully refresh your memory in that sense. So to begin with, we go to Tinkercad, which is located both on our staff and student portals. We click on it, and it should bring you to a window that looks like this. We're going to sign in. And when we hit sign in, we want to make sure we sign in with Google. And this is really important. There's a lot of different ways of doing it, but all the other ways will not work. So we sign in with Google. And in this particular case, it'll bring up the student's STU account, and they want to click on it. And once they do that, it will bring them to this page. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on how to actually use Tinkercad. The two main resources that I would direct you to for that, number one, you can go to the Learn tab up here at the top. And when you go to the Learn tab, you'll notice there are these starter lessons that walk you through. And so the first starter lesson is called Place It, and it essentially shows you the layout and how to put an object onto the work plane. It tells you how to change your view is the second one. It tells you how to move things, tells you how to rotate things, and so on. If you want to look at all the starter exercises that you can do, you can click on here. So these are really, really good. And if that's all you do with the students, where you just have them go here, they click on the first starter lesson, and they work through it in this fashion, you can see it basically has these questions, and you just follow the instructions. And at the end, it brings you to the end, and it will not allow them to move on until they have successfully completed it. So it's very independent and something that you can just assign to the students, and they can essentially teach themselves. The other option that you can use, of course, though, is to our Learning Technologies individual, Tara is also setting up workshops for people, and if you contact her, Tinkercad is definitely one of those areas that she can walk you through as well if you want to receive more one-on-one instruction in this case. So in this particular situation, though, we're going to just jump back. And once you are ready to do your own design, and just so that you know, your home page is always the 9 colored boxes in the upper left-hand corner. So in this case, I'm going to hit Create New Design. And when I hit Create New Design, I'm going to do something extremely simple here. I'm just going to pull a box here. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, where I'm going to change it to 90 degrees. As because it's a cube, you can see it doesn't change. I'm going to stretch it into a rectangle now. And so once I've got my design done, what I want to do next, though, is I'm going to hit my export. And when I hit export, again, extremely important, I want to select the .stl. And so I select my STL. And at this point, this is when I'm now going to put in my USB or my SD card adapter into my computer, because I want to download it onto that particular device. You'll notice it gave me a made-up name. I can change that name to whatever I want. In this case, I'm just going to call it Rectangular Prism. And then I would select out of my D drive, which I don't currently have right now. I would select the D drive, the SD card, and I would save it into that. And so at this point, you want to borrow the SD adapter from Mr. Murphy in the Learning Commons and put the SD adapter in, or put the SD card into the side of the adapter and go ahead and plug it into your computer like so. And at this point, you're going to then want to download the STL file onto that SD card. And once you have done that, if you are wanting to stop and let Mr. Murphy take over, you're more than welcome to do so. With that file on there, he is then able to move on to the next step off of his computer and proceed on to the printing aspect. To learn how he does that, please continue watching this video. The procedure that you would want to follow is as such. So once again, I have my rectangular prism. I'm going to hit export. At this point, I want to make sure that I'm selecting the STL file. And I'm going to go down. And at this point, I have plugged in my SD card adapter. So I have it showing up now. So I'm going to select it, which is called Canon DC in this particular case. And I'm going to hit save. And it has now been saved onto the SD card. However, I'm not quite done yet. What I need to do now is I'm going to go over to Cuba Creator 3. And Cuba Creator 3 is just a free download. You can get it online. In fact, the school board's recommending that you actually do the conversion online rather than say off of your computer hard drive. I happen to have it here just for our purposes. I'm going to bring it up. I'm using version 3.6.3, which is definitely one of the older ones. In fact, my understanding is I think there's even a Cuba Creator version 4 now, but we're just loading the software up. And if you go through the manual the school board has given you, there is a whole bunch of different features and a whole bunch of things that they say to keep an eye out for. Really, the only two for your purposes that you need to be aware of, it's going to be load and it's going to be print. And I can actually access them from up here as well. So I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Load. And it brings it back up again. So I want to go to my SD card. There it is. And I'm looking for my rectangular prism STL. There it is. And I'm going to open it. And it's going to load the model up for me. And you can see at this point, it's got all the features. It's telling me all the different aspects at play here. Again, there's lots of things that you can do out of Cuba Creator if you're wanting to change it, but hopefully you've got it all right in Tinkercad. The key thing to remember here is this is actually showing you the 3D printer platform. So if you're not sure what the size of what you've created out of Tinkercad is, this is where you can resize it. And that would be the key thing to be mindful of is it basically is 15 by 15 by 15. And so now I'm going to go to print. I can do it from either spot. I'm going to do it from here. I'm going to hit print. And it brings up the settings. And this is where most of the guide kind of focuses on in terms of what you want to be doing. In terms of quick setting and so on, you'll notice it's got fast, standard, slow, user, and so on. If I click on expert setting, it gives me even more features here in terms of some of the things. And this is really just in terms of how you're actually going to print it. The key one that you want to be aware of is base structure is the raft. Make sure this is on PLA. That is the key one. That is the filament that we are using here. And so I'm going to go to G-code right down there in the bottom, and it's going to convert it into an HVS file. and it's slicing it, and it says it's complete. It actually told me the time there. I don't know if you noticed that in terms of how long it's actually going to be. And now I am ready to take my, if we actually, I can show you very quickly here. If I go to, you will notice at this point that I have my rectangular prism. This is the key one. This is the one that I was looking for here. This is PLA 210. And that is what I need to see. I need to see PLA 210. If I see a 310 or a 110, or if I see something besides PLA, it will not print on our 3D printer. It has to be PLA 210. And so I'm good there. And at this point, all that I would do is I would take the adapter and the SD card. I would eject it out of the computer and take that SD card and put it into the 3D printer, of which point I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Murphy now to show us how to do that. Thank you. And now Mr. Murphy is going to show us how he actually prints the file.
So I take the SD card out of the adapter, I put it into the machine, and then I use the interface to start the print job. Right now I'm in the process of printing an Intrepid class starship, and as you can see from here, it's going to take about 5 hours to complete. The project that I've completed recently, I'm going to take this and attach it to some posts, and it's going to become a game piece.